morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the I'm Not Woke, I'm Alive broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Today is Sunday, March 12th, 2023. I have a wide range of topics to cover. Definitely some different thoughts on some different things happening today, on ranging from the economy to people losing their jobs to the future one world religion, the coming of antichrist, all kinds of different topics to cover. But first, we're going to start out today's broadcast with a Bible verse. Today's Bible verse comes from Genesis 1, verse 28, and it says, "Then God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." Again, the key I want you to take away is it says, Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. So I'm entitling this broadcast, yes, it is kind of a headliner, to try and get a headline, but don't be a loser like Seth Rogen. Here's an interesting article. The title of the article says, Seth Rogen got brutally honest about why he and his wife decided not to have kids after being asked if he'd be happier if they did. Seth Rogen and his wife, Lauren Miller, have been child-free and happily married since 2011. In a new interview, the actor spoke openly about their decision not to have kids. So let's see what he says. Noting that not having children definitely played a huge part in his success. Oh, very successful. There's a whole thing I'm not doing, which is raising children, he said. In response, host Stephen Bartlett asked Seth to consider the opposing side of the debate, that being parents might have made his and Lauren's lives happier, prompting Seth to firmly disagree. I don't think it would, he responded. I've been around obviously a lot of children. I'm not ignorant to what it's like. Everyone I know has kids. I'm 40, you know. I know. I mean, a lot of people have kids before they even think about it, from what I've seen, honestly. He said, you're just are told when you go through life, get married and have kids, that's what happens. Seth clarified that having children is something that neither he nor Lauren never wanted, going on to add that they've grown more sure of their decision they've gotten older. Oh, I'm not going to have kids. Me and my wife, neither of us were like that, he said. Honestly, the older we get, the more happy and reaffirmed we are with our choice to not have kids. It was something we kind of talked about more, and we were like, have we made the right choice? Are we sure? Well, Seth, you're a loser. And of course, you're a terrible human being, a terrible actor, which we know. So you chose not to have kids, which is probably for the best because you're in the evil Hollywood elite anyway, and probably tied up in all kinds of terrible things regardless. And definitely not a follower of Jesus Christ. So you are a loser because the Bible tells us to be fruitful and multiply. So that's what you see out of these elites. I'm not going to have kids. No legacy, no nothing. Without children, what's the point of life? Seth, what is the point of life? Really not much point to life, aside from getting to know Jesus Christ, which I hope you come to know him. But being a loser like Seth, not raising kids, not having kids, that is the purpose of life. That is your legacy. When you die, what are you going to leave behind? Your belongings? Some crappy movies being made? What a loser. Don't be a loser like Seth. Seth Rogen is a loser. He doesn't understand the concept of life. Never grown up, clearly, in his 40s. Talking about that. I don't want to have kids. Don't become a loser like Seth. God made us to have children. I know some people obviously cannot have children. That's a whole different topic and story. But not having children by choice and just wanting to be, basically just live life. You're missing out on the purpose. Yes, having kids is way difficult at times. A lot of work, certainly. Trust me, I have 4 kids of my own. But you know what? Having kids is the purpose of life. Passing down the legacy, teaching them about Jesus, teaching them morals and what's right from wrong, bringing good people who are smart into this world, raising them up to question everything, to tell others about Jesus, to stand for what's right. Don't be a loser like Seth Rogen here. He's the ultimate loser. I don't think he knows Jesus. I hope he comes to know Jesus. But he's the loser. Don't be like Seth. As of right now, he's someone who's headed to burn in hell. Has not had any kids. Doesn't do what the Bible says. Basically, evil person. So think about that. don't be a loser like Seth Rogen. So we're moving on here, talking about the coming collapse. They say it's going to be similar to 2008. I'm sure it will be. Of course, they're just trying to prop it up, raising the inflation rates. Let's see what this economist person has to say on Tucker.
So can you just give us your coolest, most detached assessment of what we're seeing? This seems like a big deal, is it?
Well, I mean, I can't believe that you're not allayed by listening to Treasury Secretary Yellen. I mean, clearly she's got the situation in hand. I also am just stunned, Tucker, that you don't believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion are the root of a sound financial system. I mean, come on, where have you been for the last year, Tucker?
It's time for the kids to be quiet and let's get some real economists here who aren't just repeating Atlantic articles. This is
pausing here to let it buffer. I apologize for the weird delay. So I'm doing
it's insane.
It is absolutely insane, and the layers of insanity. I mean, I can't even believe the videos you showed about the people at SVB, focused on the women's ski vacations and whatnot. It's just nonsense. And you're right. What we're facing right now is really serious. I mean, we are on the brink of a 2008-style financial crisis, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. In fact, you and I discussed this at length in our long-form interview several months ago. And at the time, the Fed hadn't even raised rates nearly as high as they have today. And I was saying, look, you don't raise rates in record fashion on an economy toting record leverage at maximum speculation and expect no consequence. I mean, this was clearly going to happen, and now we're seeing the weak links in the chain break. The areas where speculation was most rampant and most egregious are clearly coming down, and they're doing so as they seem to do in all the three-letter acronyms, just like they did in 2008. We're back to the three-letter acronyms, and there'll be a lot more of those. And frankly, I think, this is the unintended consequence of the Fed's monetary policy, yes, layered with really bad fiscal policy on top of it. But essentially, they've been encouraging people to take reckless risks for years just because you had no alternative. You could get 0% sitting in a T-bill or having your money in the bank, or you could run out and you could speculate. And that's what they've done, and that's all coming back to bite them hard. And we've got some major consequences coming at us, and I think it's going to devolve very rapidly because of all the leverage that's been built up here.
So can you...
Yep, so no surprise there. Been tanking our economy. Of course, the plan is to destroy America, to dump America. That's basically what the plan is and what is happening with everything that's going on here. Very, very interesting. Definitely similar to 2008 we're seeing. Before I play the next video, the banking collapse has begun. It's a topic I like to cover just to bring to everyone's attention. You might be seeing it if you work for a big corporation. I'm seeing it in the corporation I work for. Certainly. Not all the factors, but definitely most of them. It's called Are You Being Quiet Fired? Between 2008 and 2010, American firms laid off more than 8 million workers. Today, as the threat of another recession looms, many employers are again considering trimming their workforce. But rather than firing or laying off workers outright, because they have to pay severance, research suggests that companies may increasingly be turning to another, subtler approach, which is quiet firing. To avoid the financial, psychological, legal costs associated with forcing people out, some companies may intentionally create a hostile work environment that encourages people to leave voluntarily. Of course, on an individual level, it's hardly a new idea. Managers have long used similar tactics to push out underperformers without paying them severance or risking retaliation. But more recently, companies such as Meta and Tesla increasingly seem to be quiet firing as a workforce reduction strategy on a wider scale. Just here are some quiet firing signs. Reassigning important job responsibilities on employees, demoting an employee, or changing their job description, not assigning promising new opportunities. The thing that I've noticed in my company is setting up unreasonable performance targets. My wife also works for the same corporation. We have seen that take place in regards to the targets, the goals that they have set, making them unreasonable even for rock star people who normally would be rated a 5 out of 5. Obviously trying to force them out, making the goals so they can't even meet them. Somebody who's a really good employee, definitely saying that. Giving an employee responsibilities that are undesirable or misaligned with their role, preventing an employee from receiving a well-deserved promotion. Let's see. Not providing expected yearly bonuses or raises. My company just got rid of their bonus system completely. You can no longer get that big bonus that we used to have. Forcing an employee to relocate, taking away perks such as an office or parking spot. They reduced or increased the amount of in-office days versus at-home days, even for those who technically qualify for full-time. Not providing critical information related to employees' work and responsibilities. We've seen that. They laid off or got rid of, whatever you want to say. A bunch of our HR people took them out. Nobody said a word. I eventually found out all these people, all these experts were gone. People I'd gone to for years in the past, just gone. Taken out. Not a word. Gone. So you're definitely going to see this more and more in the corporations, because if you think about it, it's an easier way to get rid of people. Because if they quit, you don't have to pay them anything at all. They just quit and they leave. So that's what more companies are doing. I definitely agree with this article. Quiet firing, because it saves them legal costs, it saves them fees, it saves them lots of headaches of trying to fire people. So they're trying to quiet fire people by making unreasonable goals, getting rid of bonuses, increasing in-office days versus work-from-home days, even though we've done it for 3 years due to COVID. Stuff like that you're seeing more and more. So definitely signs of quiet firing. So just be on the lookout for that at your corporation. If you work for a corporation or any business, it could be just a sign of the times. That's kind of where we're at. Let's check out this video.
This week, Tucker Carlson exposed the masses to the January 6th hoax. In the Proud Boys trial, leaked chat logs from FBI Special Agent Nicole Miller revealed that she was ordered by her boss to destroy 338 items of evidence. Once this news broke days ago, the trial was halted. The investigation into Twitter has revealed that moderators were instructed to censor true posts, which could fuel hesitancy. Former CDC head Robert Redfield has just testified that the NIH was conducting gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab in China. Politically, the tide is turning, and people all over the world are now rejecting the New World Order. The Central Bank of Nigeria launched their CBDC a little over a year ago, but the people rejected it. So early this year, the Nigerian banks emptied the ATM machines and closed their doors. This resulted in angry protests. The people attacked ATMs and blocked roads in multiple cities. The Bank of Lebanon has crashed. The Lebanese pound has fallen to an all-time low of 80,000 against the US dollar. The people have taken to the streets. Banks have been set on fire. The rise in Fed rates has officially killed America's biggest lender, Silicon Valley Bank. The FDIC shutters Silicon Valley Bank. $152 billion of uninsured deposits are destroyed. The rise in Fed rates also killed Silvergate Capital. Several regional bank stocks have plummeted as a result of the Silicon Valley Bank and the Federal Reserve's rate hikes. The housing market is collapsing as well. The majority of commercial real estate loans are lent by small banks. Massive short bets are now happening in the commercial real estate market. The Federal Reserve Bank is taking down the housing market along with all regional banks, leaving only its vassals who will be distributing CBDCs as a solution. The financial experts are now recommending that people have food, gold and silver, and cash in their possession. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Yep, as the Lord told me back in 2020, pray, plan, prepare, pray for what the Lord would have you to do, make your plan for what you're supposed to do, and of course make your preparations. seeing that more and more. Good to have cash on hand, obviously, in case they have a run on the banks, in case they pull the plug. Eventually, I think they will. It's just a matter of time. Who knows at what point that they will actually be able to do that. So it's just a lot of waiting and seeing, but definitely prepare for that. We're seeing things heating up in Russia. Not even really going to touch on that today. Between Russia and Ukraine, that's always looming, trying to start World War III. The COVID stuff is coming out more and more. They're trying to push down on China and blame China for the COVID leak, even though obviously the United States partnered with the Wuhan lab and worked on the gain of function. All that information's coming out. You can look that up. Many interesting things happening. We're going to move on to another topic. Everything to know about the Abrahamic family house in the UAE. The Abrahamic family house will be a destination for harmonious coexistence between people of faith. First announced back in 2021, the house consists of a mosque, church, synagogue, and educational center located on Saudiyat Island, Dubai. That's in Dubai, basically. The vision for the Abrahamic family house originated after signing the document on human fraternity by Pope Francis. So they're working on the one world religion. Actually opened March 1st, 2023, according to this. Let's see if they got some pictures. There's a picture of the mosque, a drawing. Picture of the church. And the synagogue, rather interesting. They're putting them all together. In the United Arab Emirates. Is this the foundation of the one world religion? Just want to make everybody aware. It's interesting because they said that they designed all the buildings to look the same. They're the same. I mean, they look slightly different, but all the measurements and the metrics of the buildings are exactly the same. And that's to make them all equal. So look at that. You got a mosque, a church, a synagogue. Let's see if this video will play real quick related to it. Let's see. I know there's a commercial, so let me let the commercial play through. See if I can pull up the video, see if they'll show us the actual footage. It's already been built. Again, in the United Arab Emirates. So very interesting. So I believe this is part of the foundation of the one world religion, and you'll see it coming together more and more as we move forward, based upon as we get closer and closer to the antichrist coming and being revealed.
As open to the general public in the UAE capital, sending out a fresh message of tolerance and coexistence. It features a mosque, a church and a synagogue in the same area. Situated on Saudiyat Island in Abu Dhabi, Abrahamic House is a place for learning, dialogue and worship, and is a cultural landmark that epitomizes the understanding among the three Abrahamic faiths of Islam, Christianity and Judaism. So here is everything you need to know about Abrahamic House. What is Abrahamic House? Abrahamic Family House is a compound which houses three houses of worship, the key tenets of each Abrahamic faith. Who is it open to? The religious compound is open to visitors of all backgrounds and beliefs. Is there an entry fee? No. Entry to the religious compound is free, however, visitors must book their place in advance. Can I visit now? The Abrahamic House has been inaugurated, however, it is open to visitors from the 1st of March 2023. Are there tours available? Tours are available between 11 AM and 7 PM from Tuesdays to Saturday. Is there a dress code? Yes, there is a dress code. Women are required to cover their heads in the premises. If they are not carrying a scarf, they will be provided one at the compound. Men are required to cover their shoulders and their knees by wearing trousers or appropriate shirts. Can I worship at Abrahamic House? Visitors can practice their faith at any of the three houses of worship at Abrahamic House by attending a service, a prayer meeting, or a community gathering. Can I attend a service of faith outside of my own? If you wish to attend a service of faith outside of your own, you are more than welcome to attend, but as a guest. How can I get there? By public transport. The Abrahamic House can be reached by public bus route number 94. And by car and taxi from the Corniche in Abu Dhabi, head towards Mina Port and follow signs towards Cultural District on Saudiyat Island. From Dubai, take the Yas Island Saudiyat Island exit on Sheikh Khalifa Highway E12 and follow the signs towards Cultural District. With Rahul Gajar, this is Phil Green signing out.
Yeah, so fascinating. They've actually built that in the United Arab Emirates as part of the foundation for what I believe, which will eventually turn to the one world religion, definitely be tied to the Catholics for sure. You're going to see that more and more. We're going to play a few minutes of Dr. Gene Kim. This is an excellent video. I highly recommend you watch. Sometimes I don't always agree with him. I do not agree with him on the timing of the rapture. He believes it's pre-tribulation. I believe it's post-tribulation right there at the end, right before the final battle. That's what I believe. Based on my research and understanding, I used to be a pre-tribulationist. I'm no longer that. Certainly based upon what I've read. So let's check out and hear what Pastor Gene has to say.
Reaching at the last days of the church age, you can see that we're literally right at the end. I mean, if you're looking at the world around you, there's no doubt we're like at the end of the church age, unlike any other. Especially the past couple of weeks with how things are going really chaotic. Even on the conservative side, not just Democrats or liberals, but even on the conservative side, how things are falling apart for them. It's just only a matter of time where everything just goes chaotic. And I'm going to give you a nugget. The world longs for something after that. But I kind of mentioned that to you several times as a clue. So let's see how great our world is coming. So according to postmillennial and amillennial doctrine and Calvinist doctrine and covenant theology, we ought to bring in the kingdom, and the world's getting better and better. So let's see how great our world is turning along. So great news for Christians is CBS News says, title of their article, Meta announces, so that's Facebook Meta, you might remember that, it will reinstate Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts. What a revival! Praise the Lord! Souls are getting saved, man. Our Savior Trump is back. Amen. Talk about the third great awakening, you know? All right, so let's keep turning on. Now, Adam Schiff, as you know, this guy is one of the people that I disdain the most in our in our world. This is the guy that was democratic in belief, but he had power and control over intelligence, remember. So this is the scoundrel that I distrust the most. And obviously, as you might recall, because the Republicans took over a lot of the power, then you can guess what happened to Adam Schiff. So in CNN Politics, title of their article is Democrat Adam Schiff announces bid for Feinstein's U.S. Senate seat in California. Well, of course, he has to come to our state, you know. Of course. Who wants a loser? Except our state, you know. I don't know which one of you want him, but he got ejected, obviously. Poor guy, you know, from the New York Times, title of the article, McCarthy, the guy who took over, you might recall, after one round of votes, obviously, and McCarthy won after one round of votes. That's a joke, obviously, but title of the article is McCarthy ejects Schiff and Swalwell from Intelligence Committee. Good riddance. Good riddance. Did you forget Swalwell? The guy during, when the things happened the last 2 years when that disease spread out, and then everyone was worried about connections with China, and then his relationships, his girlfriend and his connections. And then I can't believe the Democrats said, we want Swalwell as the guy to be part of intelligence? Wow. Mad world, man. Mad world. Man, I'm glad they're ejected, man. There must be at least a little bit of common sense left in our country. The funny thing is that I'm going to read this article, and this is from Fox News. The funny thing is, the title of the article, CNN labels Adam Schiff a Republican during rare clash on Russia collusion that turned out not to be true. So they accidentally put the R, when Adam Schiff was speaking on the screen, but, it's obviously should be a D, Democrat. But they put R, Republican, next to him when he was going back and forth with the reporter named Bash. And the funny thing is that Schiff actually conceded to this about some of the things where you would think it's kind of sleazy or weird, or you do not trust this guy on how he handles the process. As Bash pushed back against Schiff, let's see right here. Bash replied this, "Let me give you another. He says that this is part of a pattern ahead of the first Trump impeachment. You said the committee had not spoken to a whistleblower. In fact, that turned out not to be true. The Washington Post said so in their fact check." So Bash was calling out Schiff for that. So you know what Schiff conceded? The Washington Post identified that, yes, before the person became a whistleblower, they sought advice from the committee. When I was asked the question, I thought they were referring to whether or not we had brought the whistleblower in. I should have been more clear in my answer. Good riddance. He should be ejected. I don't trust a loser like that, making up excuses. Now, some of you may have heard about Project Veritas with their video with that huge leakage going out concerning about Pfizer. So supposedly, the Pfizer director of research, and director is saying, I was joking when I said both right and left side. Right. Now, Carrie Lake, because she kept denying nothing is uniting, things are just splitting apart even more. Title of the article from The Hill is DeSantis responds to Trump attacks by pointing to his re-election. So Trump, you might recall, he was criticizing DeSantis, but then DeSantis mentions, it's kind of like a little bit of a jab, I was the one that got reelected. So I don't know if he really meant it as the way you people are thinking right now when I said that, but you can see it's amping, the division, the fight is just amping even more and more. And then in the AP News, the title of the article is, Sorry, Not Sorry. Some 1-6 rioters changed tune after apology. So in other words, after they said the deadly Capitol riot, there were some people who apologized or they pled guilty in front of a federal judge. But then after that, it looked like their apology was simmering down and they were supporting more of Trump's side, or the people who were for the riot or the protests or whatever you want to call it. I don't care, okay? I wasn't there, okay? But whatever, the point is that these people, it seemed like that they were toning down their apology and taking back what they said. So the liberals are getting upset. They were lying. They changed tune in front of a federal judge. So we can see how much order and law and order is building up in our world. Everyone blasting each other. It's every time when you compare it back to the 80s or back then, whenever you read a news article, it's blasting so-and-so. Yeah. News is not news anymore. Right. It's blasting so-and-so. It's chaotic. And then, obviously, you've heard about the news. The New York Times, title of the article, 71 commands in 13 minutes. When Tyre Nichols couldn't comply with impossible orders, police assaulted him. So you can guess they reported about another person who was assaulted by the police, and this is contributing to the BLM and everybody. So racism, right? Well, you know what's funny right here? This is from CNN, okay? Title of the article, from harmful inside, or it might drop the ball on us, right? But believe it or not, Epoch Times mentions, title of the article, balloon with 3 hypersonic missiles tested by China in 2018. So this has been going on a while. And China claims in CBS News, China says more than 10 U.S. balloons have flown in its airspace over past year. Then there are clash reports from the title of the article from The Hill. Trump and Biden admins clash over reports of previous Chinese balloons. Because they're putting the blame on each other.
All right, so a good video to watch, just kind of on the current, what's happening in the world, the war with China, weather balloons, all kinds of different stuff. I highly recommend you watch it. It's a little bit of a long lecture, about an hour long in total, in regards to what is happening in the world. And the Antichrist is coming. Certainly things are ticking up. Things are getting there faster and faster. You're seeing more and more things take place. More and more chaos in the world. So we'll see how long it is before they start calling for a world leader. But always remember, my belief is that America must fall in order for the Antichrist to rise to power. Because the United States of America, even though we're hanging on by a thread some days, I equate it to we're on the Titanic. We have our little red solo cups. We're trying to bail all the water off of the boat. We're still the last standing bastion of freedom in the United States, or in the world, basically. We still have our freedoms here. We still have plenty of guns. They've not completely collapsed our economy. Thank God. The founding fathers separated, or set our country as separated states, because each state can basically run independently. Thank God I live in the great state of Florida, which can be like its own country. So thank God we have some successful states. We see other states collapsing, such as New York, California, etc. We're seeing that collapse. So just bear that in mind, that God is still with us. Draw closer to Him. So here's a trailer. I will share the actual link for this video. It's a 4-hour documentary from one of my dear friends who does live in California. Who does a great job. He's actually the one who woke me up to the many truths that I share. Thank God for my buddy Chris. He made this film about veganism. It's a programmed mind. The push for veganism is a Luciferian agenda. Definitely agree. They want you to be weak. They want you to eat bugs. You'll see from this trailer, so check it out. And again, the full link, the complete link to the full video will be in the comments below.
Okay, so what I want to tell you guys really bad is that I was thinking maybe my stomach was hurting because, so I lost my period for a year and 4 months, right? August of last year. Didn't know why. I went to a gynecologist and she was just like, I don't know, it's normal, like maybe because you're vegan, you lost some weight, and your body's just not used to it, so it'll come back eventually, whatever.
The reason I propose that males get vasectomies and sterilised as opposed to females, or females can if they want, is because it's less invasive to have the vasectomy than it is for females to have their tubes tied. But I believe there is another procedure that may be out called Esure, which you might want to look into. But anyway, so men get vasectomies and then their sperm is actually taken away from them. Yes, that's right. And if they pass that test, then they're allowed to have their sperm and procreate.
Well, that's an insect-based premium protein.
The fried grasshopper. These are amazing.
Doesn't she look like a demon? Just had to comment on that. She looks like terrible. She looks like a white vampire evil demon pushing grasshoppers. Let's eat grasshoppers together, guys.
I don't feel good, and it's gotten to the point where I'm lethargic every day. I don't see any results in the gym, and I feel like my skin is starting to loosen.
Plants and bugs for you and your children, peasants. And the sooner you get accustomed to it, or else, the better.
Yep, no doubt. So definitely want to push you to not eat meats. I think it's good to eat meats. Of course, they're genetically messing with the cows and doing all kinds of stuff. But certainly better to eat meat. Get it as clean as you can. But always better to eat meat than just vegetables. Certainly. Meat is protein. Meat helps to make you strong. God gave us meat. God gave us dominion over all the animals of the earth. And He gave us the animals to eat. So I thank God for that every single day. I love eating meat. I love steak. I love chicken. I love all that stuff. So eat your meat. Remain strong. They want you to become weak and eat bugs and fake meat, engineered meat, all kinds of stuff. So just bear that in mind. So check out that documentary film. Again, the actual link to the full film will be in the comments below. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. Again, today is Sunday, March 12th, 2023. On the I'm Not Woke, I'm Alive broadcast. It's always good to spend time with y'all. Thank you for joining me. May God bless you and keep you, and make His face to shine upon you.
Vaccine lottery, all you needed to break is tragic. We all got choices to make, but I seen more bite from Logan and Jay. Corporations are more than willing to pay for you to take your jab, do whatever they say. Continue making trillions while citizens stay at home, complying, afraid. Just trust the science and think